Welcome to an interview with Rich Hueners, the Vice President of Sales and Marketing, here to introduce Singapore Assembly Services.
Palomar Singapore got started in the year 2000. At that time, we were a pretty small operation. We had just sales and direct service. Since that time, though, we've grown quite a lot. So it's been 23 years, and the staff has grown quite a lot, as well as the customers in the region and our business here. We're very pleased to be here in Singapore. The business environment here is very good. The IP protection is very solid. The rule of law is very strong. And so our US management and ownership is very comfortable with what we've done here and our further investment into Singapore itself and the broader region. Deglobalization is something that many of us are seeing in a lot of the headlines. But for all intents and purposes, what we're really talking about is the diversification of supply chains, not relying on one particular location or one particular factory to supply all of your needs, all of your products. From Palomar's perspective, we're very agnostic about this point. We support customers in many countries. In the Asia Pacific region, virtually all countries we support. And we have staff in almost all of them. And all of our staff, for the most part, are engineering staff. And these staff are field service engineers with expertise in die attach, wire bonding, and vacuum reflow services. Now, another thing that's come out of this shift about the need to diversify and make supply chains more resilient has been the need to do process development and prototyping locally. In the past, when we had those requirements come up, we've had to send those things back to our US operation in Southern California. But today, we've established a center of excellence here in Singapore, where we've brought in our own talent, we have our own equipment, and we're able to do process development, prototyping, and even mini production. And when I say mini production, I'm talking about actually building parts, running those parts, shipping those parts back to a customer that they can turn around and use to sell to their customers. When they're ready to go to high volume, we can then transfer that to high volume and provide the equipment along with that. Now, being able to do that locally has added further resilience to the supply chain and given our customers one more outlet to help protect the integrity of those supply chains. So again, for us, it has been not a problem. It has been something actually that we welcome very much because we're happy to see customers move themselves into a safer spot, into a spot where they have more risk diversification. The shift from becoming an equipment supplier to now also offering assembly services was actually very organic. Many of our customers were coming to us previously asking for us to do prototyping, to do process development, to manufacture tooling that they needed on their Palomar equipment. And back then, before we established this capability, we would have to send these things back to Southern California, where our operation there would do it. Now, that's not a problem, but there is obviously an additional lead time that comes with that. The time zone being one of those reasons, but the other reason is they are backlogged with everything around the world coming into one location. So for us here in Singapore, we decided that it was essential that we establish this capability in Singapore that could match what was happening in the States. We brought in the engineering talent, we brought in our own equipment, we established a clean room, and thankfully, we had our customers already established. They were already making these requests, so all we had to do at that point was just put it into action. So again, it was very organic. We were able to take what we had learned in the States. We were able to call our colleagues there and say, show us the best practices, show us your SOP, teach us how to do this. And they were able to share those best practices and learnings that they've developed over the last 10 to 15 years, and we were able to apply it here in Singapore. We're very proud of what's been accomplished so far, and we're really looking forward to what the future brings. We would define assembly services as a service that provides process development, prototyping, and mini production. At the end of the day, the customer, any device manufacturer, needs to do this anyways. So all that we are offering is the ability for the customer to hire us, because we do this all the time, and to develop a robust, high-yield wire bond, die attach, or vacuum reflow process. When you look at our equipment and what we do, the real benefit and the real value about assembly services comes in how we organize the process that is put in place, the recipe, if you will. That's where our engineers and our equipment really excel. It's taking the capability of the equipment along with the understanding and institutional knowledge that Palomar's developed over 4 decades, put into practice, and allows our customers to have a high yield process much faster, which then allows them to achieve time to market in a more rapid time frame. Palomar Assembly Services is unique because we offer a holistic die attach, wire bond, and vacuum reflow total solution. What I mean by this is we're able to look at so many different types of processes that come in all 3 of those categories. They're coming in terms of requirements from customers, both directly into our lab, but also they're coming in the form of machine requirements. They're going to give us an application, we're going to take a look at that, and we're going to develop a process for that application. They're going to give us piece parts, and they're going to ask us to build those as part of our assembly service. We're going to be able to do that. But where this really comes into play is because of our long institutional memory and knowledge, having worked with so many companies around the world across so many different end applications, and seeing both the best and worst practices, and seeing so many different kinds of materials coming through, we're able to recognize when something upstream is not up to par, that's going to then affect downstream. And I'll give you an example. We've had customers come to us that have struggled with wire bonding a certain package, and they've gone to X number of different suppliers, whether they be equipment suppliers or even other contract manufacturers that deal in very high volume, that do a lot of wire bonding, and they've been unable to wire bond a certain package. They bring that package to us and they say, Palomar, I can't wire bond this. I need your help. So our engineers will take a look at that and say, you know what? I can't wire bond it either. However, your problem is not wire bonding. I can see that the die attach that was done previously is not at the quality necessary to form good wire bonds. So we will say to the customer then, let us do the die attach and the wire bond will be fine. So customer agrees for us to do that. We go ahead and do the die attach, and guess what? The wire bond works great. And so this is something unique to us, that we are a supplier and expert in both areas, so that we're able to see a more holistic view of the whole process and understand that if something is not up to par upstream, it's going to affect the downstream. And so we can help rectify that upstream issue so that the downstream goes smoothly. And that is something very unique to us, that we're able to execute, develop a robust process that's also repeatable and transferable. And when I say transferable, I mean that the customer can then take that process that's been developed on both die attach and wire bond and transfer it into high volume wherever they'd like it to be, their own factory or a contract manufacturer.
Thank you for joining us. You can find out more about Palomar Assembly Services on our website.